Hey everyone, we're Mike and Corey from BitBeamCannon. Say hi, Corey.
Hey, how's it going?
And we make retro pixel art games, and we also love to play a lot of the classic 16-bit arcade and console-style games to find inspiration and influence, but to also share them with viewers so that other people can discover some of these games they may not have discovered up till this point. And this is one of those kind of hidden treasures. This game is called Armored Warriors by Capcom, and it's part of the Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle that we got on Steam, which is an excellent collection of beat 'em up games. Alright, so let's just dive into the game. Actually, let's let Attract Mode play for a bit before we do, because it's got some really nice kind of cinematic style intro that we should take a look at.
Except for that text.
The wall of text, yeah.
Yes.
Corey and I were discussing that earlier. It would really be a shame if a pack of teenagers with their pockets full of quarters happen to be walking by this arcade cabinet just as it's displaying the screen of nothing but a black background and scrolling text.
Right.
Because
then you see, you get into this intro and it's got some amazing work here. Yeah.
Yeah, and everything about this game, like inside the actual gameplay, just absolutely gorgeous pixel artwork, really creative gameplay and mech design. So yeah, excited to play, but I figured people would enjoy seeing the actual teaser intro as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
it had
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say it had a very generic name, Armored Warriors, for sure. But
I think that's why I went so many years, in fact decades, without discovering this game. Once I really got into emulators to play classic arcade games in the comfort of my own home. Just never looked at this game. I know I even saw thumbnails of it, and somehow it just never caught my eye. And every other mech game I had ever seen or played before was just kind of slow and uncreative and boring. Like, you know, the kind of lumbering and not a lot of moves. And boy, is this game not like those other ones. And I'm glad we finally discovered it.
It's quite a beautiful game. And like you, it's the kind of name that if you were even searching that name, you're probably going to find a lot of stuff that's not this game. You know, you would see this name and maybe skip over it in a list of games or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it doesn't deserve that treatment at all. You know.
And it's also a highly forgettable name because it's so generic.
Yeah.
But anyway, definitely not a forgettable game. So let's dive in and start playing. I'll be the blue guy for now.
All right, I'll be
the red
first
guy.
Red guy. What?
Yeah.
Rash.
Beautiful portrait work. That red guy, the pilot, looks like he was modeled after a hawk or a falcon. Like the way his hair is and his eyebrows and his eyes. He looks like the artist was thinking of a bird of prey at the time.
Yeah, nicely animated portraits. So much that it's not even like anime portraits in the way they move, but it's interesting to see. Yeah,
it's not just like open mouth, closed mouth, flapping back and forth. It's actually got quite a few different mouth images for the different symbols. Oh, I guess you can't do anything with that particular mech.
Oh, right, yeah. So that was just sort of a decorative piece, like a dead...
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
A destroyed mech or whatever.
Story happens.
Yes.
We could press the button to skip past that, so I'll do that next time. But yeah, there's a decent amount of moves. There's dashing, and therefore like a dash attack, which is usually like a slide. There's a jump attack, kind of like the jump kick in the Ninja Turtles arcade games. Like you jump up and then press attack, and you'll do like a kind of dash forward diagonally in the air. Drop kick.
Yeah.
And then you have a long range weapon with limited ammo that's assigned to one of the, I think it's a 3-button game, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's interesting to see that they kept this sort of portrait storytelling going on in an arcade game. It's not something you see that often. That would be more console style, but like the portraits are nice enough where it's attractive, but from a play perspective,
Yeah, but you can also skip it by pressing, or make it go way faster by pressing buttons. So, and like you said, not only is there a lot more frames to the mouth than like the sort of cheaper, more anime style way that you would often see in games, but the other thing is it's not cell shaded. Like there's actually several shades of the skin tone and hair color and stuff.
I think too. Yep. Well, I was gonna say, with this being a mech game, maybe that was their way of putting their cast of characters in the game more without, because you don't see them.
Right, the human
it's
touch.
Just robots and everything.
That's a great point. Yeah. Ouch! I just got blowed up. And then the other cool thing that the viewers may have noticed already is that not only can you lose your limbs if you get damaged, but when you destroy enemies, they leave limbs behind that you can then pick up and add to yourself. And that goes for attachments like shoulder weapons, arms, and then you could replace your legs entirely with
like this,
tank treads.
If I get this, I guess it's the regular gun I got, but
yeah, yeah, that may have given you more ammo, or I don't know.
I'm wondering if. Like, I can tell a lot of the mechs are made out of multiple sprites and everything.
Yes.
Not only, it makes me wonder if it's multiple palettes as well. Like, if they had did they have a 16 color limit, or was this a little more advanced than that? You think?
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure that's a great point. Almost even the early arcade boards, especially the Capcom ones like Final Fight, they had several sets of 16 color. Sets of palettes for sprites, so they could definitely use the sprite, bumping a sprite to a different 16 color set to make it a different colored arm or leg or character, so that's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, I think they were sticking to that rule for each main character. It just seems like things like those guns are using, like on your guy, it's using a different palette than his main blue palette or whatever.
Oh, right. Well, that's the other thing too. Like you said, they're made out of all different sprites, which there's that's called modular animation. And some viewers might not know that my kind of day job is a company called Brash Monkey. We were one of the first people to introduce a 2D modular animation tool specifically for game makers to the public, and the tools like that, modular animation tools, it lets you assemble a character out of different body part images and then swap the images or move the position, or in the case of sprite, or rotate, which you couldn't really do on a lot of arcade boards back then. But the point is, each frame of animation for the character is not a fully hand-drawn full image. It's assembled out of a bunch of sprites that represent the different body parts, which is how you can have such a robustly animated, a bunch of robustly animated giant characters on screen that are, I'll pick a different robot now so people can see all of them over the course of the game. Since I'm certainly going to die plenty.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, so like you do the same animations for the character with both of his limbs, and then you can just remove any of the limbs in the game, but it's playing the same animation data. And then, or you could then also totally replace, like you animate the upper half of the character, so you have all their attack animations and getting hit, but then you can replace their lower body legs with tank treads, or all kinds of different like hovercraft legs, and which they do later in the game. The variety is pretty amazing.
Even all the stuff with, I think, like the combined mechs, like they even do it with 3-player. The 3 players. I guess it's just for boss fights or whatever. They'll connect together. Interesting idea for sure.
Yeah, I think they use it as an intro to some levels. Like it's just at the beginning you all combine.
But
I think that only happens, like it makes the different like actual walking mech instead of just like a big more generic tank thing that 2 players connect to. Like it seems like they reward 3 players for plunking in, you know, three people plunking in quarters to play. They reward you with a cooler mech that you all combine into.
Yeah, I don't know of many other games that would even do something like that, even in modern times. You know.
The creativity and attention to detail is really pretty mind blowing in this game.
Yeah, just the art in general is gorgeous. It does get a little intense with a lot of mechs on screen.
Yeah,
all the jets and everything flying around, but you know, it's a bit forgivable because it all looks so awesome.
So good, yeah. But even in 2-player, it's much easier than a game like Final Fight to just completely lose what's going on the screen.
Right.
But I can't even imagine 3 players simultaneously. It's just most of the screen is going to be covered with robotic body parts and explosions and impact effects and stuff like that.
Right.
Especially me exploding, apparently. But oh, there's a tank tread bottom left behind. There we go. If I can survive long enough to put used to it. So another cool thing, some of the bottom parts that you can get, you have not only the regular jump attack, but if you press down and attack, I blew up too soon, so I couldn't show you.
Yeah, I think
I'll be the red guy now.
Alright. He seems to be the most fun, I think, overall. But
yeah, the blue guy's fine too, but yeah, the red guy's really nice balance between agile and strong attacks. But yeah, so there's this really cool thing, hopefully we'll get so we can show later on. There's these like really fast-moving spidery legs you can get to replace your regular legs or tank tread bottom. And your jump, they all spin around like a helicopter blades, and you could really kind of saw blade and grind into robots, and you can move full 360 across the floor while you're doing that. And then if you jump up in that mode and hold down and press attack, you'll do this like really like downward drilling grind into the enemy, which can really do a lot of damage, and it's very fun.
Oh, and this junkyard is awesome.
Beautiful detail. Yeah. Look at all those dead mechs up there, abandoned mechs. Auto-scrolling level.
Yeah. The only other game I played that reminded me of this was a game on the Genesis called Cyborg Justice.
Yep.
And that game, it didn't play that well. It was very clunky and slow. But it had modular animation as well.
Right.
And it had that sort of mechanic where it's like you fight enemies and you get like their arms and stuff, but it had this whole thing where it's like you had to hilariously like pull their arms off of them and to get them and stuff.
Yeah.
It was a fun game, but it didn't play nearly like this, and it not anywhere near the quality. Not only was it limited being a Mega Drive game, but
the memory.
You know, Capcom making this in their heyday or whatever was. It's a good example of what they were capable of.
Yeah, on a nice, powerful arcade board too. Like, this thing has so much more power. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Genesis / Mega Drive, but this machine had so much more power, so many more colors and sprites on screen.
Yeah.
Than the Mega Drive could handle.
Yeah. I definitely, I think. Playing this before, I didn't get too much further than this area, so I haven't seen a lot of this, which I'm
nice.
I'm kind of looking forward to, you know.
Oh, the guy with the lightsaber.
That guy got an axe.
He might.
Like a mech.
You have a lightsaber at the moment, which is pretty cool. And I'll have to stay out of the. Oh, you have the nice thing with the drill down attack. Sort of like the way the spider leg thing does.
Yeah.
But, ouch.
I love the slicing in half thing.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'll have to stay out of the way so I'm not covering it up. But when you have that lightsaber thing, you totally Voltron slice the enemies in half with the if you hit them with the killing blow with the lightsaber. I don't even know where I am on the screen. There I am. Like I'm the right one.
Yeah. It's almost like this game deserved like a slightly higher resolution or something.
Yeah,
with the size of the characters, you know.
Or the old 2 monitors side by side, like they did with several games like Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. That would have been fantastic. There we go. We're connecting into the more generic tank that you get if you're 2 players.
Yeah, and it lets both players move the character, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But I guess I can understand why they did it that way. But
yeah, like there would just be a verbal agreement between the players. I'll steer. But presumably each of us pressing the attack does something different while we're connected into the tank. But it's too chaotic for us to really tell. We just button mash.
Yeah, that guy is big.
Oh, that's a really cool. I've got an electro arm here. That's really nice. But yeah, the effects are also beautifully animated. One thing I especially love in this game... Oh, I have to continue. Here I am mashing the button like a doofus when my character's dead and not on screen. But, what was I saying? Yeah, oh, the other thing I love about this game, the small human characters, not only do they give you a great sense of scale for the robots you're piloting, but they're just so beautifully pixeled. Just everything in this game, really, really nice, very high quality pixel art. And as you mentioned, you did not see a lot of sub-pixel animating back in the day.
No.
And the small humanoid characters, it definitely looks like it was starting to apply those sorts of techniques.
Yeah, specifically the ones in the background when you see them, it was surprising to see that. You didn't see it back then. It seemed to be a little more modern of a solution to small, tiny animation, you know. Yeah, wow, this character, I guess if you're fighting a slower enemy, you want the faster mech or something. Yeah. Maybe it's easier, but...
kind of run circles around him, ideally. But yeah, and it's also obviously nice how you can really splatter the humanoid enemies.
Yeah, they're even the ones that are soldiers and stuff, like they're just useless against you. They don't even harm you. You know, they're trying, but...
Right. Yeah, it gives you not only that sense of scale, but that sense of power. You know, piloting a giant mech.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you had mentioned before we started recording, beautiful environment art all the way around. And as you might remember from our video, if you saw our kind of hidden treasure review of the Rastan Saga 3 game, we talked a lot about how to properly sort of divide your environments into large areas of a single tone, like light, medium tone, or dark, and largely monochromatic.
Yeah.
And they do that really beautifully in this game. And not only does it create a really nice kind of cohesive atmospheric look to your environment, but it makes sure that the character sprites just stand out beautifully from the environment. So
yeah, I mean, that one last environment was a little more generic, but
yeah,
I think that's the only one I've seen so far that I felt a little underwhelmed by. But then you get right into this, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah, and it like
a nice. You know, they have nice ground textures without being overly contrasts.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they blend in, but it's not too much. Yeah. Very nicely done.
Yeah, this was a AAA team all the way. The design is fantastic. The art is fantastic. The animations do not feel remotely stiff, despite the fact that they're robots and it's done with modular animation. So, And the creativity, like look at all the different variations of body parts and the resulting moves that you get depending on what you have. Just fantastic stuff.
Yeah, they were highly experimental with this, and I am wondering. I mean, I guess this was a U.S. released game. I would assume.
That's a great question.
But I don't think I ever saw one of these back in the day. But
no, this game. I mean, I grew up absolutely loving, nearly being obsessed with Transformer toys. Mm-hmm. So if I saw this game in the arcade, I would have been obsessed with this game.
Yeah,
it is so impressive, and certainly was right up my alley. So. Yeah, it's. I should have researched before we did this video just to get a sense for if this was released and to what degree if it was in the U.S.
Yeah, it might have had a more minor release and been more popular in Japan. I would assume it was, but...
Yeah, sarcasm alert. But yeah, it is shocking that of all cultures, Japan would make a game based on giant mech robots. I'm kidding. Right. I'm kidding. But yeah, that's... Man, what a fantastic... are you there? Oh, okay. Excellent.
Yeah. A lot of, Gundam sort of influence on that. You could see it clearly, but...
Yeah, visually as well. And some enemies, like you said.
But really, they took a lot of care and time to make sure the main characters were all wildly different from one another, yet they still all had the modular compatibility thing going on. So that's a lot of work, a lot of design work, and and then just artwork and getting it all to function, because all the mechs they're not even all humanoid, different sizes, and like that's a pretty massive undertaking. You gotta give them credit, for that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh yeah, that was another thing that made me think that some of this game could have been done either pre-rendered 3D for some of the parts or robot designs, and maybe even something similar to that for the little people, and then hand cleaned up by really good pixel artists, is this sort of sub-pixel animation of the characters, because that kind of happens accidentally if you animate your things large or as larger resolution 3D renders or just 3D renders in general, and then hand pixel clean them up, you're going to get some sub-pixel animating. So that's probably what kind of evolved and introduced that technique even for hand pixeling, is when they started using that as a workflow for really complicated games like this to be able to produce higher quality animations at a faster rate.
It's hard to know if all of it could have been done that way. It doesn't look it though. I mean, it doesn't at all feel like it's they had a light source and they pre-rendered everything. That's a pretty distinct look, so I don't know. It's tough to know for sure.
Well, like that's the tricky part, right? Like if they were among the first to use a method like that, and they were using really good pixel artists, and remember back then 3D technology would be pretty crap, especially if they wanted it to render on a decent schedule, that they may have been rendering it so poorly that the pixel artists would almost completely draw over it. But the angle, the scale would stay right, the detail would be in exactly the right place for like when the arm
could have
rotates.
because I was gonna say for how complicated the designs of some of the mechs are, it does seem like a possibility, because all those arm positions and everything, legs and all, it's so accurate and not exaggerated that it feels that way.
Because when you're hand animating stuff like that, it would take such an insanely long time to make sure that all the bolts and detailing and stuff stays exactly in the same place and exactly the same scale.
Right.
So that's what I'm thinking, is that they used relatively primitive 3D renders without a lot of nice lighting and even color maybe, and just really used it as a guide for perfect, keeping the exact right scale and anatomy, but totally had to hand pixel over. There we go. These are the legs I talked about. Look at that. And like watch,
Amazing.
and I can move in 360. Like unlike most of the other jumps, you can only move perfectly side to side. You can move up and down on the screen, and then you could do the down attack, and like it really devastates. And I just did it to a poor single human character.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's a war of mechs, just get off the battlefield.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're on foot, you know.
Yeah. What do they have these human soldiers hopped up on that they feel that
know.
fearless that they're just going to be, you know, toe jam for these giant robots?
Wow, that's interesting. Lizard mech.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Did you see the little legs flailing to try to get back on their, like when you knock them on their back? Look at the little legs. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
They're frying them.
Yeah, it's...
I hope we can get you some of these spider legs so you could try it. It's so fun.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll pop up at some point.
Yeah, here, try them. They're over here now.
Oh, okay.
Careful, I think they might fade away over time. There you go, you got them. All right, and then jump does the... Yep, oh, you got it. Isn't that nice? Yeah. And the fact that you could just, like, move freely around the screen while you're in this saw blade mode is really fun.
Yeah, it would be pretty awesome if... I mean, they've re-released this in this bundle, which is nice, but to have sort of a dual screen remaster kind of thing of this. I mean, don't even change the art, you know, but
exactly.
Just give it that extra width and everything. It would be amazing, yeah.
Yeah, especially in 3-player mode. Because it's definitely tolerable in 2-player mode, even though you can get lost, and it's hard to really appreciate the art because everyone just ends up overlapping everything else, especially with all the explosions and impact flashes happening at the same time. But at least they're beautiful explosions and impact flashes, like everything else.
Yeah.
Oh, let me get those spider... Oh no, they're fading away. Darn it, I jumped instead like an idiot. Oh well.
Well, that's what the equipment does, you know. It just
fades away.
Fades away.
Well, especially metal, you know.
For 5 seconds.
They were very environmentally conscious, and it's fast biodegrading metal. So, you know, a couple of seconds in the sunlight without electricity pulsing through it, and it just fades away.
Yeah, you know, environmentally friendly war. So so what kind of gun is that? Is that the flamethrower that you had?
I believe so.
Okay, yeah.
I think I died like 4 times since I got it, so I don't know for sure. I'm just button mashing and talking about how awesome the game is.
Yeah, I don't remember how long it is. I don't think it's incredibly long. It's about average for these types of games, but yeah.
Like, I definitely felt like it was a little longer than Final Fight, because I really got surprised when we were recording that, how soon it was over.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little longer than that. I certainly die more often.
Right. Yeah, it's just generally a much faster paced game, though.
Yeah.
Just with the action, you know, you're not... Final Fight's got a little bit of that. I don't want to call it a slow game, but it's
not as hectic.
You're walking a lot slower. You're taking guys, like the guys seem to have more life energy, so to speak.
Yeah.
In this game, it's like the mechs are just fodder. You know, you can take them out left and right, sort of thing.
Yeah. Definitely a faster action game than almost any other brawler. Maybe any other brawler I've ever played. Which is exactly the opposite of what I expect from a mech game.
Right. Yeah, you're used to the slow,
clunky
lumbering. It's all about tactics and
exactly. Like, there's definitely, even among most artists and animators, especially back in the day, there was a desire or an instinct to make big things move slow because it emphasizes their massiveness.
Mm-hmm.
But they definitely didn't fall into that trap for this game.
No,
It was all about making it really fast action. Dead yet again. All right, let's see. I think we've seen every character. I'll do the green one is definitely our least favorite. It's just he's like a mass, like a lump. He's almost like a wad of metallic chewing gum that's been chewed up and spit out. Like they could have done a better job separating those giant arms from the torso by making the torso darker. There's the fun hammer, the claw arm where you could slam them down on enemies that try to sneak up behind you. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that guy, he's the only one that does feel like the slow Mac of all of them. The rest of them have some amount of speed to them and responsiveness, and he's...
Yeah.
It's almost like they meant for him to be a distance guy, yet they gave him those giant arms, which I never could quite seem to like think were that useful. I don't know. It's like he's got that range, but his punch is so slow. It's not very fun, to use. But
he looks a lot better with these different arms. But the default arms he starts with, the position of those arms just obscures and overlaps the same colored green torso that, with everything going on screen, you can't tell what your character is. Just like a confetti of just like a blob of green confetti or shredded metal.
He just doesn't have a nice form, It's
like
the
silhouette.
He needed a little bit more streamlined look to him, I guess.
Exactly.
Which I know wouldn't be the case for the slow guy, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's a very good
Plenty
point.
of flair you could add to
I think. Even to this day, with really high resolution or even cartoon animation, in character design and animation, silhouette is critically important, more important than detailing. Like a lot of graphic designers will fall victim to that mistake of focusing so much on, I'm going to put all these really cool little details. Which, they can all look cool on their own, but if your character's overall shape and silhouette isn't interesting, a whole bunch of little noodly details in there isn't really going to help. And then obviously if you're designing your character for sprite work, you can't have all those tiny little details anyway, so silhouette is really important. And as we pointed out with this green guy with his original arms, his silhouette is so poor you can't see the separation of his back arm, chest, head, and front arm, so it's just a massive green shredded metal.
Yeah, it sort of gets like into those complaints people had about like the Transformers movies. It's like a lot of heavy detail on things that are moving very fast and lots of crazy cameras on. Like you could never really see their silhouette very well. It's like it's very close in on them and stuff, and that gets overwhelming on the eyes. You're just and this game has a touch of that in certain, when there's a lot going on. But it's not nearly that bad.
A little personal trivia from my work past. When I was at Glue Mobile, the first Transformer Michael Bay movie was coming out, and we got sent, before the movie was ever released, the concept art so that I could start designing the sprites for the characters like Optimus Prime and stuff. And as a lifelong Transformers fan, I was enraged at what I called it was we're in the giant robot now. Oh, look, it's the mech I thought was only for 3 players.
Right. Yeah.
So I guess it's not a reward for. But anyway, like I called it the metal version of Tarred and Feathered. That's when I saw what they made Optimus Prime look like. It's like you take a bunch of shredded metal and you glue it to a humanoid statue. Like it was just a mess. Like there was no longer any sensible to the eye, just no separation of different parts, like the arm and the chest and the head. It was just like a bunch of same colored metal shreds all over.
I caught a glimpse of that too, because the second movie came out, I think, while I was working there too, which is funny. And they had that license, and so before that movie was out, it was the same sort of experience, even though I had already seen the first movie. But I got to see some of the concept work for the second movie too. And it was clearly like you know, a bunch of Photoshop parts brushes, like people just kind of splattering stuff all over the place.
Yeah.
And it felt I was like, man, this isn't like, it's hard to call this like decent artwork, you know, like it feels some of it was nice. You know, some environment stuff going on, but I think I had a minor task on it though, something like I had to create like a game level or something. It was one of those like, oh, we got to pull you over to this thing for temporarily
get the game finished on time.
And I remember seeing that, like, the end of the movie was, like, taking place in Egypt or something, and I was like, all right, why are they in Egypt? Like, what? You know, I was just confused. But, yeah, the visual quality, I was like, man, because you look at the old designs, and you're just like, they're classic, they're beautiful, you know, in so many ways, and, yeah, they're very retro now, but it's so much nicer to look at. Yeah.
And you can actually tell what's going on. If there's a fast action scene, you could definitely do, like, and other artists and animators and toy designers did a fantastic job. If you look at, like, you know, the Transformers Masterpiece toys?
Yeah.
Like, if they looked a bit more like that, you could go even more detailed than that, but they just went so far, and I really blame, and don't get me wrong, I really like the Matrix movie, but it had such an impact on pop culture and design and movies, especially sci-fi movies from then on. It's like the squiddies, like suddenly every
fast-moving tiny parts
all
over the place.
Exactly, and everything's dark and everything's like made out of little shredded bits of metal.
Well, that speaks to why they want to make everything dark too. Because that's the only way your eyes can take that in, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like in bad lighting, so to speak. So, yeah, it's all about that aesthetic. But this game strikes that medium ground. I think they went a little overboard in some places, but it's everything has a pretty cool design, except for that one guy, the one green guy. But I can't give, especially the environment work in this game is like, I can't give it enough compliments.
It's absolutely beautiful.
It's just gorgeous.
But like even the green guy, once he gets different arms, he actually doesn't look that bad. He's definitely the least fun to play, and probably the least interesting from a design standpoint, but definitely not bad. But he starts out kind of bad compared to, it's like a grade curve. They set such a high standard with everything else in the game. And the other three robots, that his default mode just definitely doesn't match up. But talk about a nitpick complaint for an absolute, like, top tier AAA game. The quality is just fantastic all the way around.
Yeah, for sure. It's
and it's a shame, like, neither you or I have played this game much at all, so I'm sure we're not doing it much justice in the gameplay department.
It probably was the fact that it was robots, and a lot of people just felt like it wouldn't make as much money in their arcades, like in America and stuff. That was a bit of a sentiment back then, when anime was not as popular, and it was kind of starting to gain its footing. I can kind of see that sensibility from like someone who just owns an arcade or whatever. And then they're like, well, I'm not going to make much money off of that one. I'm going to get Street Fighter, or I'm going to get
Ninja Turtles, obviously.
Right. I mean, everybody's got this one. Everybody wants to play this one, so we'll do that one.
Right. Yeah, they want, for the most part, especially for this kind of game, they're going to want human characters or a very recognizable franchise like Ninja Turtles or Simpsons or X-Men. You know, all of them had these kind of games, and to my knowledge, all of them were also made by Capcom.
Well, I think some of them were Konami. I think they handled Ninja Turtles. I don't remember about Simpsons though.
That's a good one, yeah.
It might have been Konami with Simpsons, but so Konami was pretty strong in the beat 'em up genre as well. They were sticking to licenses more though. Capcom tried to always do more original stuff. Yeah.
Although it was Capcom that did Alien vs Predator, right? That had to be Capcom. If
Maybe I'm
wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Wow.
It might have been. Yeah, I'm not sure on that one, but
yeah, that's a good one. I'll have to check. Maybe while I'm editing, I'll put a fact check.
Right.
Little blurb up there for these games to verify who made what.
The real shame of this not being as popular, though, is that it could have spawned a pretty cool series of even console games that had that sort of idea of the mechs that could, a sort of fast beat 'em up mech game, where, just like this, where the emphasis is on like the combinations of the mechs and things like that. They could have even went so far. I know that there's modern games that do this kind of stuff, but in this genre with this sort of art style, I don't know.
Maybe one of the problems is they did it so well this first time that they were like, no one wanted to try to make something. They'd just be in the shadow of the first game of this game.
Possibly.
Like you said, I mean, the only way to one up this game really is to add a second monitor and keep everything else the same.
Right.
Except for that, make the green guy start with a better set of arms so that he looks better.
Right. Yeah. They should have gave him like little T-Rex arms or something. That would have been funny. But yeah, they wanted the big slammer guy, understandably. But it's to me, I'm like they could have just left him out, since it's 3-player. But
yeah, I mean, I think what they wanted, a spider leg guy, get him.
Oh yeah.
But I think what they wanted to do was make sure that if you're the last of 3 players to press select on a character, that you still have an option. You're not forced to take the one last guy. Like, at least you still have 2 characters to choose from.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That seemed to be their overall... I'm not going to be that guy. But yeah, that seemed to be their overall design with each of these arcades. Yeah, or at least Capcom,
Yeah. Still haven't killed this spider leg guy. There we go. Oh,
no. I'm just jumping all over, making it worse visually.
No! I was just about to get into the spider legs and it forced the end sequence and made me walk away from them. Wah wah.
Oh, is this...
Yeah, I think this is maybe the first form of the lead boss, and he's
I was gonna say, he looks main villainish.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This has the exact same hold down the button, and the cinematic goes into fast mode as Alien vs. Predator. So
that guy's little chair he was in, like with all the equipment around it, that was a good example of they wanted to throw in extra tiny detail on something that was being relatively still.
Yeah.
Like that's safer in that regard, Those guys are weird, the wheel guys.
Yeah, Steamroller. Which makes perfect sense for a humanoid enemies, but the good guys are never outside of their mechs. Excuse me.
I mean...
Alright, wait.
That's just... Yeah.
No, they did it again! Are you kidding me? You teases, you bastards.
If he's the last enemy you kill, you can't get it. That's sad.
Yeah. Nice claws. Yeah, I think this is the first form of the final boss.
Nice.
The mech's name, the final boss's name is Quarter Eater. I don't know why. Nice. Yeah, they really did something right. There's something so viscerally rewarding when you do one of the charge attacks or that grinding saw blade attack. It just really feels great compared to most fighting games.
Yeah, the all the little stuff like the screen shake and it all adds up, and the feel of the animation and everything. And this is before they had things like Rumble and all that, in controllers.
Yeah.
Of course, the arcades wouldn't have had it. Although I'm wondering if people made some arcades that tried to have something like that, but
yeah,
maybe.
That's a good question. I've never. I can't think of any. Like the closest thing, which was an abysmal failure from a gameplay experience standpoint, was the. Thank goodness we apparently have unlimited or virtually unlimited lives and continues, right. Because man, am I using them up fast. But was the original Street Fighter game, the sort of deluxe arcade cabinet of it that had those giant rubber buttons for attack. Like you
right.
literally had to punch the attack button to punch, and it was just silly. It made the game exhausting and really, really hard to get out your attacks with like really good timing and stuff. Did you ever run into that thing? It was just ridiculous.
I don't think I did, but I remember seeing a lot of experimental things back in the day.
Yeah.
I can't that was a time where it's like the sort of they couldn't put a gamepad in an arcade. The arcade existed before that, but they kept trying to think of like, oh, how can we make the play different? And it reminded me of sort of the motion control era of console games. Like they tried all that in arcades before, that sort of stuff, different control methods, and it's
right.
Some of it stuck and some of it didn't. But ultimately, the one everybody always goes back to is just the classic,
joystick, basically.
Joystick and buttons, yeah. So,
all right, we're definitely close to the end now. I'm almost certain this is the last level, which isn't even a long level.
This small Mac is like crazy with the lightsaber thing.
Yeah. Just a fast little shredding machine.
Yeah.
Oh, forget the I'll just mosey on into a giant blue exhaust. Yeah, I did it again. Just shoot him right in the face, point blank. That was fun. Ouchie. There, cut him in half. That's interesting. That would be cool if there was strategy involved. Like if you were using the lightsaber and you slice the enemies, then they can't leave body parts behind and stuff like that. I wonder if there's anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell sometimes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this game is such chaos. Let's take those tank treads. Come on, keep pressing the wrong button. There we go. All right.
Yeah, it's
laser.
Yeah, it definitely feels close to end game with it being like a sort of battleship
exactly.
setting and everything. Nice, nicely done, of course. I mean, this is another one that, being very geometric and militaristic, it could have been very boring, but it's not. Like, the art is still very nice.
Yeah. And again, just like I talked about in the Rastan Saga and the other games we reviewed the graphics for, look at how the level, the environment is broken up into shades, color themes, and you've got horizontal detailing at the bottom, and then it goes vertical up at the top.
Yep.
And those breaking up the environment into these big themed sections for texture, sort of direction of texture, type of texture, overall value, which is how light or dark it is.
Wow, this is getting intense. Yeah. But yeah, like that wall detail back there is like they gave it enough contrast to make it feel like like it's a closer up wall that you can get right up on. Like, you know what I mean? As opposed to if it was further back.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
To make it feel like that's a barrier you can bump into quite literally,
Yep. Ooh, spider legs. I think. Yep. It's so much on screen. I wasn't sure.
Kill him first. So
yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, but the trick is killing him.
Yeah.
Where is it?
I love how those spider ones have the little guy in the cockpit too.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice.
Little touch, yeah.
There, okay.
Oh, here we go.
Nice, you got him too. Very nice. Oh yeah, is it the end of the game? Yeah. Pretty sure this is it.
Double-headed something.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Brain machine.
Go throb somewhere else. Look.
Oh, nice. I imagine you can destroy the heads separately or something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah. Oh, look at that beautiful grindage there. That's a new verb. Look at that. I don't know if my rapid fire pressing the button helps. I hope it does. But it's really fun.
Yeah.
It's really fun. There's...
those lasers.
Down. Yeah, this is typical token / quarter.
Yeah.
There we go. I think this is the end of the game now.
Nice.
Those spider legs moving that fast looks pretty hilarious.
So they had to jump over the gap before they could pick them up, I guess, or something. Yeah. Oh no.
Oh, are we still? Is there still a little bit of gameplay left?
I don't know.
Let's find out. We are a giant mech for some reason. Oh, whoa!
Oh, yeah.
There's another
boss part 2.
Yep.
Or 3 or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew he said like at least twice. Maybe it's 3 or 4 times. This can't be. You can't defeat me. I'm the coolest giant robot guy.
Yeah, they had to do the giant combined mech for at least part of the last boss, I guess.
Yep. Ouch. Grind him up. Oh, I'm dead. Nice. Grind him. You've got the spider legs. There you go.
There we go.
Oh, he had an entire second set of double meter. Nope, now I've got the spider legs again.
This guy's cheating with an environmental hazard.
Yep.
There you go. It's sad that he doesn't move more, though. Like, he just kind of sits there, you know?
Yeah, this is just a race with those lasers down there to beat him before you run out of tokens or quarters.
Like, they made him look awesome, but yeah, he's like... I mean, I guess you could say it's like maybe last desperate, I don't know, defense or something, but...
Yeah.
It feels like, it'd have been nice to fight somebody that moves a little bit.
Yep. Not only would your victory feel more substantial, but it would be more impressive.
Yeah, it kind of feels like fighting a giant toe, you know? I'm kidding.
Awesome Shadow of the Beast reference. Fantastic. Oh, what just happened? Oh yeah, we need to continue. Press start. Oh, thank goodness.
Okay, yeah.
Spider legs, no! Spider legs, no! There. Oh no, I missed them. They faded away. Oh well. Let's see if he has yet another set of double meters, or if this is it. There we go. Yeah, that's a lot of explosions. I think
that was the old trick back in the day. Just give him another meter, you know.
Yeah.
All right.
Run back to the token machine. Put in another $5. Right. We swear this is the last double meter set for the boss.
Wasn't it always too like when you finished an arcade with your friend or whatever, and then it's like you're still playing, so it restarts the game, but you kind of like don't want to play anymore. You're
Yeah.
just like, how many times have you just walked away and been like, ah, we beat the game. I'm gonna go find another game to play.
Yeah. Like I always felt good, like I was leaving the game for someone else to continue playing on my quarter, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, there we go. There's a very, very well-made game. It's one of those things, like, it's so chaotic, and we've not played it much, so I think it would be even more enjoyable, obviously, when we really get used to the moves and the different weapons, and can, especially when we're trying to talk while playing on a video, it's really hard to really pay the careful amount of attention that would be needed to play this game really well.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, definitely very, very high quality. And a lot of fun. Yep.
Oh, and I did want to mention too, didn't we find out with this bundle, because we had talked about it last time, can't you, in multiplayer, you can set things like lives and stuff?
Yeah, so difficulty, lives, yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice feature we didn't notice before last time when we played Final Fight, so.
Yep. Yeah, Capcom did a fantastic job with this bundle. Yeah, like I said before, if you're looking to play online, I'm in France, Corey's in the US, and we're playing seemingly flawlessly online multiplayer, and that was very much not the case with the Sega bundle. I hate to keep knocking the Sega bundle, but it was really disappointing. Like, we bought it specifically because we wanted to do kind of let's plays and reviews of games like Altered Beast and stuff like that. And the one thing that was a little disappointing, it was all the Mega Drive emulation, like no arcade emulation, like only Mega Drive. And then the real bad part was its online support for people apparently on other sides of the planet is just really bad. Like, this runs flawlessly, and every game we tried on that Sega collection is unplayable.
I noticed no lag at all this time. Yeah, especially with this game, because it's so responsive with every button press that I couldn't tell at all.
And this game, and this game is super high speed, so that really tells you something. Like, it felt like maybe there was a tiny bit of lag in Final Fight, but it could have just been because it's a slower paced game. But this, ran amazingly well, and we're very far away from each other. And I don't think either of us... Yeah. And I don't think either of us have, like, really fantastic internet connections either, so...
No.
Anyway, there it was, Armored Warriors, a generic name for a very not generic game.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
One of the best, I think, on this bundle, although there are some other greats as well, so...
Yeah. All right, awesome. I guess that will be it for this one, unless you have any last-minute thoughts, Corey.
It's a beautiful, inspiring game. Yep. Definitely inspiring in the mech sort of way, because, like you said, it's a lot of mech games are very slow, and you get the sluggishness, but definitely not that way. And I don't think I've ever seen another game like this in this 16-bit era. So
other mech games, but. All of the rest were much slower paced, like you said, much more strategy kind of things going on, like a lot of ammo management and upgrading your equipment by buying it, or it's that kind of stuff. So yeah, very, very cool action game. It really did, I'm sure at the time, to breathe a lot of new life into that genre of beat 'em up.
Yeah,
and
I think so.
Just really cool game. All right, I guess that's it for this video. Thanks everyone very much for watching.
If you enjoy our content and want to keep up to date on our games, please leave a like and subscribe. Also, if you want to support our projects, consider becoming a patron. The link's in the description, and we'll see you soon.